Tell me, what do we have here for our beers?
So you've got orangey or orange,
okay,
if I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Which is a cream ale base, and
Yeah.
then they've added orange into it, and vanilla beans and some lactose to give it some body, and comes off a little bit like a vanilla creamsicle. So then after that, you've got Meat Helmet,
Yeah.
which is I believe it's a Belgian pale ale. But the taste profile to me is a little bit more like a Belgian double.
Yeah.
So the Belgian yeast.
Yeah.
Real strong, real nice body to it.
Okay.
And then you got Electric Boots and Mohair Suits, which is their porter. And then they're backing that up with Maddie, which is their Imperial Stout.
I'm actually excited that they have these two dark beers on draft, because I haven't been drinking a lot of dark beers lately, because there's been all the breweries have been doing,
They're summertime beers.
The summertime and the New England IPA craze.
Right.
And so I'm like, man, like I was telling you before, stouts were what got me into craft beer, but I don't know, I kind of like, I got so, like, for me it took me a while to acquire to IPAs. But like once I started getting into it, I just like never looked back. It's like and there's so many breweries, so many different kinds.
Everybody does this. I mean, it's the top selling style.
Yeah.
But it does. I mean, it's strange that it would be the top selling style because it takes most people's palates so long to adjust to it. But once you do, I mean, you're locked into it. Like I know people that just love IPAs and that's all they'll drink.
And I've been that way for a while now. Right. But I try to like get back to. I'm like, man, I just want a good stout. When I was at Acronym, I had their. Not the Irish stout, but the other stout that they have on. It was both of them were really good. But I was just like, man, just get a good stout. So we're gonna go live here officially here pretty soon, and so we are here live at Missing Mountain Brewery in Cuyahoga Falls, right on the river. If you can see behind us, beautiful landscape, beautiful building, immaculate establishment. I'm joined here with Rob from Northeast Ohio Craft Brewery News. Craft Brewery News. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about the social aspect of beer, right? Because beer is extremely social. And, I mean, in our modern day society, being social, you can't avoid social network and social media. So we're going to talk about, in fact, you're going to have great insight to that. But I get us a little, maybe like a little bumper trailer I'm going to read for us real quick. But it says, so in this week's episode, we're going to be looking at, like I said, the social aspect of craft beer. And not unlike the rest of today's modern society, social media plays a strong role in that social interaction. Our beer board posting, beer ratings, social beer releases events, beer groups, and even more, totally different events have all become a very prevalent part of the craft beer scene. From apps like there's Untapped or Beer Advocate to beer fan Facebook pages, this online community is very much alive and striving, making it, or thriving, if you will, making it possible to have drinking buddies literally thousands of miles away. And so from this community that's built on something so local as the brew pub, it's reaching something so limitless as social media that the craft beer community is seemingly endless. So the potential. And so for a more in-depth look at how these two communal experiences play a role in the world of the hop, we're going to sit down with Rob Tittle, like I said, from the Northeast Ohio Craft Beer News, and the great folks at the beautiful brew pub that you see around us, Missing Mountain, and located in the newly renovated downtown area of Cuyahoga Falls on Front Street. And they'll be talking with us very soon. But before they get in with us, I want to talk about some of the stuff you've been up to, Rob. So first of all, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It's been awesome getting to know you through the Facebook page and through the group and through Northeast Ohio Brew News.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Tell us a little bit about how when you started that page and how it just kind of took off, right? Kind of blew up.
It did. It actually completely surprised me. So I'm going to give credit where credit's due. The whole idea kind of started out of a conversation with Rick Armand, who, as many people in the craft beer world know, is an excellent beer writer, blogger for the Akron Beacon Journal and Ohio.com. And I had actually friended him on Facebook one day. He talked about the social aspect. I knew who wrote, and I sent him a friend request. And I knew he covered new brewery openings a lot. It was a big part of what he does. And so I found out about this place in Hudson called Hop Tree, which hadn't opened yet, since it has.
Okay.
And so I sent him a recommendation to like their page. and he instantly sent me a DM on Facebook and said, "Are you part of the Hop Tree opening group? Are you involved in the ownership?"
Sure.
And I said, "No, I'm not." But we struck up a conversation over craft beer, and long story short, basically what it came down to is Rick made an emphatic point that there are so many breweries opening in Ohio over the last couple of years that, like, when he started doing this a couple of years ago, he literally knew every single brewery in the entire state.
Yeah.
And he said to me that now there are so many and they're opening so fast that he can't keep up with it all.
Right.
And he can't even write an article on them unless they contact him first.
Yeah.
So that kind of set off a light bulb in my head for me that maybe this is something I can kind of help out with and do. I mean, I'm never going to do it to the level of that he does it, or guys like Mark Bona from Cleveland.com do it.
Yeah.
But the idea was just to kind of set up a page that was kind of a clearinghouse, if you will, just kind of a aggregation site that kind of shares all the beer stories from all over the region, not just from guys like Rick and Mark, but guys like Brian Duggar up at the Toledo Blade and Dan Kane down at the Canton Repository, all guys that are doing great things. Guys that really pump up and promote the industry. So to kind of share all their articles and talk about all this stuff in one place.
Yeah, and I mean the industry and the community itself is blowing up. So it's like, how do we capture all this, right?
Sure.
How do we tell people about it? And so like kind of like Rick was saying, it's like, I can't do it all. I can't keep track anymore.
He can't do it all on his own.
Yeah, and I'm quickly, as I've been trying to promote the Hop and the Bean and this thing is just like the sky's the limit, but it's like trying to find it all. That's why, like, I found your site, and I'm like, man, this is perfect.
Yeah,
it's such a good relationship, and I mean, so and beer is that way in general. I want to talk about this a little bit too. Is about like the craft beer community is like that, anyways, and so of course social media is going to be like that. But as I started reaching out to some of these breweries and just going to craft beer brew pubs. Out of pure interest,
right.
I've found that the breweries are just super communal and like everybody's helping everyone else, right? Maybe speak a little bit about the beer community itself that you've seen, and as we before we get into that too, well, I guess we can talk about maybe after, but like, we have a flight here and we can talk about that too.
Sure.
But
yeah. So you talk about that aspect of community, and everybody just kind of wants to help out with everything. And I've just found that the entire community is just super in tune with. Everybody wants to get their name out there. Everybody wants to do everything they can do to help you grow. And so you talk about how did the page really kind of blow up.
Yeah.
Well, for me, one of the things that made it blow up is I identified early on that people like free stuff. Okay, so
sure.
Giveaways are a big part of kind of what we did.
Yeah.
And being the craft beer geek that I am, I have in my basement a full bar that's very much themed like a craft brewery.
Yeah.
I have 6 taps. I'm a home brewer myself, so
nice.
I'm the ultimate craft beer geek.
Yeah.
So we had a big party when we finished our basement, invited a bunch of friends over. My wife actually is the one that initiated this. She started contacting all these local breweries and telling them, my husband's a big craft beer geek. We're going to do some giveaways for our friends that are coming over for this party, and can you contribute anything to it? And they were all so nice, and everybody just wanted to help, and so they sent us a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
We had so much left over.
Yeah.
That I'm like, what am I going to do with all this leftover stuff? Turned into a giveaway.
Nice.
So I posted the giveaway. It went so well. It was shared so many times and liked and commented that the light bulb just kind of went off and said, why don't we do this all the time?
Sure.
And it just became another aspect of the page. So, yes, we are ultimately about aggregating and sharing all the great beer stories, but we like to do a lot of more fun stuff and really engage our audience. And bring people into it. And the giveaways have just become a huge part of what the page does. And every single brewery that I've encountered, most of them actually contact me and say, hey, we'd like to do a giveaway with you guys.
It's awesome.
So it's great. But anybody that I've directly contacted myself, no problem, will actually absolutely contribute. So they just all want to help out, and they just all want to get their name out there.
Yeah. It's so cool. And it's like every, kind of like we were talking about before, it's like every craft beer brew pub is a different experience, and like
100%.
trying to capture that story. The possibilities are endless.
Right.
So let's talk about. Well, actually, let's wait till we have. Well, it might be gone by then, but I was gonna say, like, we talk about the beers with the brewers once we have them on. But
sure.
We can go back to it if we want. But I think we have the orange year right here.
Correct.
Right.
What we're drinking here first, and the guys will probably talk a little bit more about it. But this is meant to kind of mimic an orange creamsicle.
super drinkable.
Super drinkable.
Yeah.
So a lot of oranges. I don't know exactly how much they use. Dave will probably tell you all about that, or Keith, when they come on.
Yeah.
But a lot of orange, a lot of vanilla beans, some lactose to give it a little bit of body, and it just really mimics that orange, vanilla, cream kind of taste to it.
Yeah.
It's really, really sweet and just super crushable.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was like sitting back on a kind of cookout or something, or like a sunny day or something. It's very doable. I'd say it's super drinkable.
Yep.
So, what's the next beer we have here?
The next one is their Meat Helmet, which is a Belgian Pale Ale. So, and this one is a pale ale, but to me it kind of more mimics a Belgian double.
A lot of I get a strong Belgian flavor, but I get like a little bit like more balanced, more lighter, more of that pale ale body, maybe.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
Again, maybe it's just in my idea with like Belgians and like it kind of seems like a summer beer.
Yeah, definitely, but it's still got kind of that Belgian character with the banana and the clove.
Yeah.
And,
Yep. So what's this next porter?
This one's called Electric Boots and Mohair Suits. And the inspiration
Say
for
that
this
again. Say that again.
Electric Boots and Mohair Suits. And I'm sure the guys, when they come on, will probably give you a little more background into the names.
Yeah.
But one of the brewers is from Vermont, and I can tell you they're huge fans of Hill Farmstead, which is universally recognized as one of the best breweries in the world.
Okay.
And so this beer, I think, is kind of meant to mimic Hill Farmstead's Everett. So, and I've never had that, but if Everett's as good as this,
that's a really good porter.
It's an excellent porter.
Really good.
Yep.
Wow. And so this last one is in the flight.
Last one is their Imperial Stout. This one's called Maddie, and I believe this one's named after one of the brewer's dogs. And it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that is really good. And I say not because it's not good. It's really good, but it's a lot of the times like porters and stouts are so close. Like when I first started drinking craft beer, it's like, oh, a porter's just a weaker version of a stout, but those are distinctly different.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like it a lot. So yeah, we can probably talk about that more with the brewers, but I just wanted to kind of go over, let everybody know what we're drinking.
Yep.
Not yet. And so maybe tell me more about your page and interaction, how you've seen like with breweries and craft beer drinkers, like how has that community grown, and like what kind of relationships have you built out of it?
The relationships, I think, have been probably the most rewarding part of the whole experience. So when I got into it, I really didn't know what to expect. You know? I mean,
because we're sitting here drinking beer and like we're having the sampler. It's like almost designed for that. It's like, hey, let's like try these beers and talk about it.
Yep.
It's a natural like bond builder.
Sure. So I mean, the idea of the page was I'm not trying to take over Rick Armand's job or Mark Bona's job. I'm never going to do what those guys do as well as they do. I've got a full-time job. Yeah. This is a passion project. It's a side hobby. I spend a lot of time on it.
Same.
But it's not my lifeblood, so to speak.
Yeah.
So when it took off, it kind of really took me by surprise. I really didn't expect for it to go beyond maybe a couple hundred likes.
You're at what now? Like almost
like 7,000 now?
7,000, yeah.
So it's been
so cool.
A complete shock to me how it's taken off.
Yeah.
And, the community aspect and meeting people, like you said, has been the most rewarding part. I mean, I've met probably most of the brewers in the Akron area. Some of them, like these guys here in Missing Mountain, I've actually become personal friends with and actually friended them on Facebook and been to a couple of their houses. So I mean, it's really just become, you build friendships out of it. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's like with the whole industry. I always say it's like craft beer is a community built on passion. It's an industry built on passion.
Very definitely.
Like, and coffee is similar with it because it's like, hey, I am roasting these beans a certain way, or I want to get this certain origin of bean, or I'm a home brewer, and it's like you are so passionate about it. Eventually, you just want to share it with people. And it's like something without the consumer, if you will. I don't want to like use that industry term, but it is. It's like the people. Like, okay, that's great. I made this really great beer. I'm just going to keep it all to myself. It's like, I don't know. It's so much more rewarding to me when you share it with people, and I think that's universally felt.
Yeah, I mean, my relationship with these guys here at Missing Mountain kind of started that way as well. I was doing an appearance up at the Bottle House in Cleveland Heights last June, and I wanted to pull together a quick giveaway to do on a table there. I was going to set up a little table. Jason and Brian from the Bottle House invited me to come up.
Nice.
And so I kind of went around to a couple breweries and said, hey, can you guys contribute anything to it? And these guys were like the first ones to jump on board, and they're like, hey, yeah, we'll give you a growler, we'll give you some shirts, we'll give you a hat, whatever, we'll give you a gift certificate for when we're open, people can come down and redeem it. And so we just kind of struck up a friendship, and next thing I know, I'm getting an invite from one of their owners to come over to their house and try their beers.
Nice.
And so, friendship was born of that. I mean, and like you said, they just want you to come into their world. They want to show you their creations, show you what they've made, and get your opinion on it. And
even
they
for
just
me,
want to talk beer.
We're all exactly.
At heart. Whether you're a home brewer or you're professional,
right?
We're all passionate about beer.
Like I get thrills out of like finding a beer that I like and letting my wife try it, and and then that she actually likes it. I'm like, I feel, rewarded out of that, and it's like, it gets me excited. I just bought her I know she likes a certain type of coffee, and so I was like, well, I want to try to find a really good coffee that you might like, and so I know what she likes, and so I went through this like certain type of roast, and then I got it for her at this coffee house. Where was I at? There's a Nervous Dog, and who will be on the show next week, and she liked it, and I was like, yes, it was just like so cool, like trying to figuring out like it becomes like a shared passion, like finding things that people like our producer helped tonight, Hank. I got him a beer, and that he turned out to like. He's like, I'm not a beer guy, but like finding stuff that people like and like sharing that passion.
Yes,
there's like this weird reward that comes out of it that's like so fun to share with it.
Absolutely.
I don't know, and out of it builds like relationships.
Yes,
and I think maybe you could speak to this a little bit. Like once brewers share their beers, like it's even more so like they want people that like can appreciate it, be like, oh, and he's such a like, not to make it like that snob level, but like say that someone that has actually been a little bit more versed in a beer or so, and they're like, oh yeah, I can notice I can taste those Citra hops, or like those Mosaic hops. I can actually taste the different kinds of hops. You're like, exactly, because I put those in there.
Right. And I think ultimately at the core, I think that's kind of the beauty of the whole craft beer and hyper local movement. Is that people want to feel kind of connected to a brewery, to something in their neighborhood, to be able to go there and not just order a Bud Light or a Coors or whatever. They want to sit down at the bar. They want to order something, want to talk to the bartender, maybe even talk to the brewer. And just kind of talk about the beer. How did you make this? What was the inspiration behind this? What's in this? I can taste this flavor profile, and to actually have the brewery on site right there, the guy who made it in the brew house next door or right behind you, that can tell you how he made it and what the inspiration was and what he was trying to achieve with the flavor profiles. You ain't gonna get that by just going to any bar or an Applebee's.
Right, we're like, well, this beer came from like who knows where and who knows what's in it.
Some multinational conglomeration somewhere overseas, and maybe it's a couple months old by the time it gets to the bars.
And that's one thing that I've noticed too, is like, I mean, coming to a brew pub or a brewery and having their beer on site is 100% completely different experience than like any beer you're ever going to get. Like I get Bodie pretty fresh, like 5 days or 3 days, but like you go to a brewery and there's just something about it. It's like you can't mimic that experience.
Right. It might be coming right out of the bright tanks that day.
Yeah.
So as fresh as it gets.
And so like getting back to like the social aspect, so it's like, so beer is like kind of doing what social media does, right? It's bringing together people that want to like communicate and build groups based on not always a certain topic, but in this case a specific topic. And so I mean it's a very, like, I think breweries are starting to learn, I mean way back, once like we talked about like the different waves of craft brewery, but like the breweries, like if you're not like killing it on like social media, it's like you're missing out on a whole target. Not just like to excel with media, but to also like tap into those people that may not know that you're even out there. And it's like it's a whole new way of marketing that you can use social media to do that. The breweries, that's their goal anyways. It's like to build pages like yours that are like just building that just strictly based on a community and a shared passion. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's where a page like mine can kind of come in and help, a lesser known or startup brewery kind of get their name out there. I'm under no illusions that I'm anything special. I'm a small page with 7,000 likes, which, you know, is impressive. But in the grand scheme of things, you got Great Lakes out there that's got, you know, 135,000 likes.
Right.
And everybody, and they're a regional brewery, everybody knows it. My page isn't going to help anybody like that. But I might be able to help in some small way the small mom and pop brewery like this that's just starting out.
Yeah.
That maybe only has a couple hundred likes and people don't really know about them.
Right.
And, you know, to me, if I can turn on one or two people that tunes into my site that has never heard of a Missing Mountain or an acronym or a hi-ho or whatever, the first time they ever heard of it was when they came out of my page, then I feel like
exactly.
Then I feel like I've done my
I
job.
love that, and that's what I love. That's what I love. That's like to me one of the wins, if not the win of your page. It's like sharing all this growing community. Exactly what we're talking about. And it's like, hey, I was just had this New England black IPA from Platform.
Sure.
I've never heard of that. Oh, this brewery opened. I've never heard of that. Oh, go there. Like, you know, I think somebody commented on my post about going to Taco Tana's to get hoof-hearted. Like, I was like, yes, that's so cool, you know? Like, and I didn't know it was there before I saw it all there. I was like, nice.
Yeah, right, yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
one of the nicest things was when I was in Sandy Springs Brewery down in Minerva, which you talk about, you know, breweries these days, it can if you make a good enough product, you can pretty much survive just about anywhere. And Minerva is a small town of maybe 3,500, and they've opened a brewery, great couple, Andy and Amanda Conrad. And one day I was down there having some beers at their place, and Amanda came up to me and said, so we just had a guy who came in that said he heard of your place, or heard of our place from your page, and he drove all the way here from Newcastle, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, nice.
And
that's
I mean,
so cool.
that was so rewarding to me, because that guy might have never heard of Sandy Springs and gotten in his car and driven an hour and 15 minutes, you know. If it wasn't for the little
I think we have a studio audience question.
Okay.
Not studio, but online. Audience question.
Robin.
Uh-oh.
God. You know this, Robin?
I might know her.
Robin would like to know, does Rob have any future plans of opening a brewery himself?
Oh. Good question.
This was not staged, not set up. Honest to God, I had no idea this was coming, but knowing my wife, it doesn't surprise me in the least.
Is that your wife?
That is my wife.
Okay.
Yeah. So, never say never.
Yeah?
I'll leave it at that. I am a home brewer.
Yeah.
I'm still learning a lot. I've been doing it about 4 years.
Sure.
That wasn't the end game when I set up this page.
Right.
But if someday the cards aligned and everything fell into place, yeah, I'd love to build something out in the country where we are. We're kind of in the middle of nowhere. Southeast Portage County is where I live, and there's really not a whole lot out there. I mean, I got to drive probably a good half hour to get to anything.
Sure.
So maybe. You never know.
Okay.
Is that the answer you were looking for, Robin?
Do you know Shane Myers?
Shane Myers.
Yeah.
I've been told I need to talk to him.
You got to talk to him.
Homebrewing, I believe.
Is the homebrewing community as closely knit as the brewery community? Because homebrew is its own thing too, right?
Yeah. Can they hear the question he's
Not
asking?
really, no.
Okay.
Probably not.
So a question a producer is asking is the homebrewing community as closely knit or as tightly knit as the professional brewing community? And the answer, I think, is probably yes. So, I talked about earlier the party that I had in my basement and the gift bags that my wife set up by accruing all this stuff from local breweries. A lot of those gifts were for fellow homebrewers, for friends that are really hardcore into beer like me. So, I mean, we are kind of a tight-knit community, and there are a lot of local homebrew clubs out there. You've got Snobs, which is up in Cleveland. You got Saaz, which is down in Akron.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, Saaz, S-A-A-Z.
Yep.
Yeah.
And absolutely. Those are very tight-knit communities. And actually, they're not only tight-knit within their own communities, with themselves, but they're also very tight-knit with the professional brewery community. So earlier this year, I think it was in March or April, you had one of the Akron beer fests.
Yeah.
Not the Akron Ale Fest that I know you're going to be involved with in a couple weeks here.
Kind of later,
but another one, I think that was in April. And there was actually a bunch of collaboration brews between professional brewers and homebrewers from Saaz.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, each home brewer from Saaz was paired up with a professional, and they did a collaboration brew that was shared at that fest.
And so for like the home brewer, that's probably like,
oh my gosh, that's
so
like,
cool.
Yeah, a home brewer's dream right there.
Yeah. I used to go to I haven't been this year, but for like the past, 6 years, I've gone to the Erie. It's in the Erie Brew Station, and they have a brew fest there.
Yep.
I think it's just called the Erie Brew Fest, and there's a lot of breweries there. They have a whole area dedicated to homebrew. It's like when you walk in, like the lobby area. It's like their whole. It's a homebrew tasting area. Okay. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
So you don't live close to Akron. I was going to say, for my Akron viewers, you may notice in my recent broadcast, I've recently got a haircut. And this isn't like a plug or anything, but this is just me naturally just like loving. This is like the best haircut I've ever gotten, like in my life. It's probably the second best.
It looks good on you.
Because my good friend at LaBelle's Barbershop, Tom Covey, gave me this cut yesterday. LaBelle's, we did a show there with 3 to Go, I don't know, about a month ago, but Covey the barber, Tom Covey, does an amazing job on fades particularly, but like really great job. So I keep wanting to go there and bring beer and do like a beer tasting and get like a cut. But
that's a good idea.
Yeah. So just have to throw that out there. These awesome people, and Kobe, the barber, it's great. Yeah, we're gonna try to get a barber, or not a barber. Well, we're gonna try to get a barber eventually. A brewer, the brewer and the barber. That'd be a good show.
Yeah.
But get some of the brewers to come and give us some of their insight.
Sure.
As we talk about more of the brewer side of things, and actually. And not just like brewer, like generically, but like Missing Mountain. That's kind of like the part I was telling you about, like the hop and the bean. Is wanted to get these experiences of each brew pub and each person that each brewer. They all have their own story. And so it's super interesting to me and to I think a lot of people. Even if you're not into craft beer, it's just like you drive by and it's a legit establishment. You're like, what is that with the mountains on it? And Missing Mountain. What does that mean? And just. So I think it's like getting kind of that story, behind it.
Right.
And I naturally do that when I go to brew pubs. I'm like trying to figure it out. And from the moment you walk in, you can kind of get that feel, you're like, okay, so this is what we got going on.
Right.
And it's like sometimes interesting. Yeah.
So should we bring in the guys that are a little more interesting?
Let's go. I mean, without talking, I didn't know they were behind me, but these are the.
What's up, guys?
Thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming out. Appreciate you guys being on.
It's awesome. Rob,
good to see you again.
Good to see you, man.
Whoa! No! Got it live. Let's do it live.
Yeah, it's live on Rob.
Beauty of live. Yeah, this is our podcast.
Okay,
first one.
So wouldn't be live without something like that happening.
That's true. That is very true.
Sorry, Rob.
I believe they call that a party foul.
I'm sure we owe you a beer now.
This is like the first time this ever happened on the show, surprisingly. And like in the back of my, I'm like, I wonder how often that's going to happen. So,
thanks for coming, guys. I appreciate you guys coming out here.
Yeah. It's kind of scooching into the shot. Sorry about that. This way, maybe. Into the spill.
Into the spill.
Yeah.
Good.
Cool.
This guy's cut off.
Yeah, seriously. So we have Dave and Keith here from Missing Mountain Brewer. And starting on the operations. Are you also a brewer?
Yep.
Head brewer.
Assistant brewer. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Good. So good to know. So one of Akron's newest breweries, right?
Yep.
Kind of Cuyahoga Falls area down here on Front Street. How long have you been open, and kind of tell us how it's been going?
We've been open for about 3 weeks now. We opened about the second week of June, and it's been going. It's been tremendous. It really has. It kind of outseated any idea as far as what we were going to do. We thought we were going to do pretty well the first couple of weeks. The support has been amazing. It really has. So a lot of people from around the different neighborhoods. We've got some neighborhoods back here and also in Silver Lake. So them coming out, it's been a lot of support, and just the community as well. Driving by, seeing the transformation of this property has been pretty cool for people, because they come up and tell us that, and then now they actually get to come see it. It's been in progress since about 2011 of transforming this property. We came into it in about 2016, late 2016. So we wanted to make sure we had it right. We wanted to make sure that we had something with the view that we have of our patio. We wanted to make sure we utilized that really well.
My goodness, yeah.
So we travel a lot. we go out to New York City, we went out to Portland, go out to Denver. We wanted to have a feel of something of that stature, of where you go to these places and it doesn't feel like you're at where you are. And we wanted to provide that with that view, and just make it something a little bit special for our community.
Absolutely.
I've said this from the get-go since I met you guys. I think this patio is, it's top notch. This is what, besides the beer, which is excellent.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
this,
you.
That's
this
first,
is what
yeah.
brings people in, because I don't think there's a place in Akron, and this is not to denigrate or take away from any of the other breweries
Sure.
in Northeast or in the Akron, Cuyahoga Falls, Kent area. But there isn't any place in this area that has a view like this patio has.
This patio is what drew us in here.
Yeah.
Like we walked through this property to do some assistance on work here, and I feel like this patio just drew us in, and it completed our mission to get ourselves implanted here. And we thought we could do something really cool with bringing outdoors, indoors, and indoors, outdoors, and create something that's not current in this area. And I think that hopefully the people are seeing that we try to draw that all together and create a complete package here. The tap room is a little unique. I think it's cool. It's got a little bit of a different vibe than most of the areas around here. And we're just happy with the way it turned out, and the support's been great.
Yeah, that's the last place I looked, actually, because I came in, I was looking in the brew house, looking in the front rooms, and then I looked out and I was like, man, this exactly what you just said. That patio is it was almost breathtaking.
It's
Not
pretty
to be cheesy, but
it's pretty cool to see people come in that don't even know that we have this patio, and they come in the tap room like, oh, we love the tap room, it looks really great. Did you go to the patio yet? Like, no. Let's go out to the patio and take a look. And
here's the aspect that is killing it on. Is I always say this. I'm like, okay, a craft brewery opens up their brew pub, and of course the husband is going to love the beer. But the brewery, you need to get the wife to want to come back for a date night. That's date night, right there.
Well, and we thought about we've tried to hit on every aspect of everything, of trying to make sure that we could provide something for everybody.
Yeah.
The one thing that we probably couldn't provide that on is smoking. We're non-smoking. Every aspect of our place is non-smoking. It's because we want people to enjoy the beer. They want to enjoy the food.
Yeah.
For people who are non-smoking, that from that sensory standpoint, it's just a collision. So that's probably the one thing that we didn't. But when we were figuring everything out, we wanted to make sure that we're working on getting a cider. We want to make sure that it's something that's more local. It's something. So we haven't quite put that on the menu. I don't want to just get an Angry Orchard or something like that and put it on the menu. But we're still working on that. We've got a great wine list. We've got a great liquor list. We're not going to do shots. We're not that kind of a place. We want people to come and enjoy the flavors that are in the drinks, and have a good time and not take it to that level. But we just want to make sure that there's something for everyone.
To that, I was going to say, you don't have. I thought that's what you were going to say, but you don't. People aren't allowed to smoke, but you do smoke meats here, right?
We do.
I had the brisket sandwich today. It was phenomenal.
Yes.
Really good.
Thank you.
I loved it.
Yeah, our friend
Hank was a fan.
Our friend
likes it too.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Bob,
BG Barbecue.
Our friend Bob. He
Yeah.
comes in and we got all the meat brought in here, and he comes and that's his smoker. He smokes it all, and we put it on our menu.
So cool.
Yeah.
The coleslaw I hear is
The coleslaw is
from,
amazing.
Hank loves it. I'm not a coleslaw guy myself, so I gave mine to
It's a
him.
vinegar slaw. It's not a mayonnaise-based slaw, so it's
Nice.
it's
My
very
wife would
approachable.
probably-
It's really good.
I'm taking my wife right back there for a date night.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate
So
that.
I have to ask, and I'm sure you get this question all the time.
Yeah.
Missing Mountain.
Yes.
The name.
So, go ahead.
So we are. There's 4 owners, and all of us are very, very, very big advocates of outdoor activities in the wintertime, especially. There are 3 of us that are snowboarders. One of us is a skier. We used to take trips, on the regular, out west to Colorado. We do a lot of local trips to New York, Pennsylvania, and we actually consider moving as a group out west because of the mountains.
Wow.
And when it came down to crunch time, all of us sat around a table and just decided that Ohio is where we want to be.
Sure.
It's where our families are, and we love Ohio, but the only thing that's missing is a mountain. So Missing Mountain was born that day, and we just decided everything here is great, the only thing we're missing is mountain.
Yeah.
So,
That's so cool.
Yeah, so
I like it.
That's where the name came from.
Yeah, nice, awesome. So maybe expand on like something we just talked about. There's like the two huge elements. Rob and I were talking about this before, right when we went online. But like a brew pub, like like phase 3 of like craft beer revolution. It's like not so much focused on distribution, but building up the brew pub.
Yes.
Right. And so like two huge elements, obviously the beer and the brew pub itself.
Yes.
And then probably I even would throw in the third element of the marketing, which I think you got. I love, and I'm not just saying this. I'm very critical. I said this to you about the logos. I love the logo. It gives me like almost like a Hobbit feel of like the Missing Mountain. But like I love it. It's one of my favorites. But maybe explain like how intentional that the strategy and the philosophy behind the Missing Mountain experience was with the brew pub, the beers.
I could probably talk about this forever
because you had to create it, right?
Because this is our passion. Like this is what we love to do.
Yeah.
Over the past, we're going to go on. This is the 8th annual, but when we started home brewing, and Bob, who helps us out with our smokes the meat.
Yeah.
We started doing this party in my backyard. Started with about 50 people. We did the first one was we smoked a really small pig, and we had I think 1 or 2 beers on draft. Since then, this past year, we had about 300 people in my backyard with a huge tent. We
13.
smoked a much larger pig, and we had about 13 beers on draft.
Right.
Nice.
So our passion of brewing and home brewing at the time was, I think we could take this to a next step.
Yeah.
And create this and be able to introduce it to everybody, like to provide it. We knew we were making great beer, and we knew that we were making great food. So why don't we make something that we can provide locally? And it's never, ever been about the money. It's been about being able to bring something locally that we can be proud of and our community can be proud of.
Yeah.
And at the same time, being able to help our community.
Yeah.
We're very passionate about. There's a lot of foundations that we're really passionate about, and in our past jobs, we were kind of struggling to find that being able to help people to the extent that we wanted to help them.
Yeah.
And we saw this as an avenue to be able to help our community more than we've ever been able to help. So that was really a cool feeling to be able to say, let's open this place. Not only are we going to be able to make great beer and provide that to our community, but also be able to help them and give back.
And renovate this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of this
So
empty space.
yeah. So we're quite passionate about that. And that's our biggest drive, and that's going to be the thing that drives me for eternity on this place.
Sure.
So,
Talk about that, and that's kind of like one of the things that kind of drew me to you guys, is because I instantly recognized that passion. And knowing you guys as I have for almost a year now, I mean, I know you guys were both physical therapists by trade, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So neither one of you guys were probably hurting financially, right? So, like, to your point, this is not about the money. This is not, man, the craft brew world is on fire right now. We got to get in.
We got to cash in.
And make all we can while we
Yeah.
can, right? It's not about that. It's about passion. It's about what you're putting in
You
people's
can tell.
glasses.
Yeah.
It's about giving back to your community. And I see that passion with you guys every day.
A question. We have a online
It's
question.
not Robin again, is it?
We have another question from Robin.
Oh. Is she the only one that's watching?
You'll be very pleased with the news.
Yeah.
So, granted, you guys are new. Okay?
Yes.
But do you have private parties at this venue? And if so, does that include weddings as well?
Yeah, so private parties are a little tough. We have about 35 seats in our actual tap room, with probably about another 5 or 10 standing room. We have about 25 seats in our Three Seasons room, with about another 5 or 10
We just had a dance party.
standing room for that. And then we have a patio that can seat about 80 people. The problem is the weather is very dependent on that. So if we say we agree to have 80 people on our patio and it's raining, we can't take those 80 people and just put it inside. So it's a really tough thing. Right now we're telling, and depending on the time, it's really tough to reserve a room for a late night Friday night and leave seats reserved when there's people that want to sit in them, and it just makes people angry. So
Sure.
It's very easy to rent space of about 25 to 30 people on say the beginning of when we open. So if it's a Saturday, a Sunday at 11 a.m., 12 a.m., or a Monday through Thursday at 4 p.m., it makes it much easier for us to rent space. If it gets into the evening hours of 7 or 8 o'clock, much more difficult. And if we start targeting large parties, then we have to close the entire brewery to accommodate that. So, and then at that point, then we're placing minimums. So it's really tough to do that. We don't want to make the general public mad either, because if they come here and see that we're closed. With that being said, we're doing a private event on Saturday. It's a local private event that we agreed to long ago, and so we're going to be closed from the hours of between 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. and then reopening at 8 p.m. But it's kind of difficult. It's very size dependent on what the party is and what the time it is.
Yeah. I know where this question comes from. My wife is turning 40 next year, so she's asking for herself.
And honestly, the best thing to do is email through our website with the information, and then that way, we can basically get the information logged in. We can look at our schedule, see where we're at, and make a better decision. So we have a contact info. If you send through that, it'll come directly to Keith, and we can all sit down and look at that.
Yeah, it's very size dependent, time dependent, and data dependent.
Yeah. The next question is, what's the difference between a brewer, an owner, and an operator?
Absolutely nothing.
They're all the same.
We're the same people.
Yeah, we're all the same.
We wear very many hats. We've been working about 14 to 19-hour days.
Yeah.
And that's on the regular. The weekends, it's 19-hour days. During the week, it's 12 to 14-hour days. We'll go from brewing in the morning, whether it's cleaning a tank, whether it's cleaning kegs, kegging, checking beer inventory, to I was just in the kitchen a little bit ago cutting up onions, making the beer cheese for the pretzels. We were making guacamole. And then coming out and setting up the drawers for the day, making sure that... So we all wear many hats. There's 4 of us. Dave and I are in this full-time, and then Danny and Dan still have their full-time jobs, but as soon as their full-time jobs are over, they're here and spending every waking moment besides they're here. So we're very much involved in every single aspect of this place.
How we looking on time?
You want to talk about the beers?
Yeah.
Because they're much more interesting than I am.
Dude, you got your highest viewership.
Okay. All right. Well, let me. We have a flight here. I also had the IPA.
Had a flight.
You had a flight.
Had a flight.
Wearing most of it.
Some of us are wearing it. Some more than others. But they had the orange Zernger, the meat helmet, the boots one. What's that called?
Electric boots.
Mohair
suits.
And what?
Mohair suits. Benny and the Jets, man.
Who? Benny and the Jets?
Yeah.
Okay.
Elton John.
Elton John
Is that
tribute.
a song?
Yeah.
Maybe.
This guy's a little young.
Yeah, I think he's...
But
just showed his age.
That was actually my favorite beer out of these 4.
Oh, thank you.
I was telling Rob that I'm glad there were some of the dark beers. Initially, when I first got into drinking craft beer, like Hoppin' Frogs, like Boris, and some of the darker beers really pulled me in. I was like,
those are awesome beers.
Yeah.
Only drink
Great
dark
beers.
stouts and dark beers. And thank you.
Yes.
But then once I got into IPAs, I was just like, okay, I'm all in on IPAs. And I just started drinking every IPA I could find, and going, Homebrew to Bodhi to even like Waldo's and all the different kind of beers. And then I really liked the IPA you guys have on right now.
Dance Party.
Is that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's our double IPA.
Yeah.
But that porter was really good. It was. I told Rob it was different than this stout. Sometimes stouts and porters taste a lot alike.
It's a blur line. It's a very blurry line.
Yeah. Maybe explain the difference between the two a little bit if you can. And
Yeah.
what went
So
into those two. All that to say that.
with our electric boots, we were going for more of a robust porter. So what we were going for wasn't that, it was. Sometimes with stouts you get this acrid kind of this bitterness that you get with stouts, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't get that flavor profile. So the biggest thing was to get a full-bodied beer, but not have that overbearing roastiness.
Yeah.
It's got full flavors of coffee. It's got full flavors of very dark chocolate. And there is a little bit of bitterness there.
Maybe that's why I love dark chocolate.
That bitterness is, I think, where the blurred lines become between those two styles. So, with that being said, they're not exactly 100% where I want them. There is a learning curve going from a homebrew 1-barrel system that we had to a 10-barrel system, and learning all the nuances of that.
Sure.
As someone who's had them both, I haven't noticed. So.
Okay.
For what that's worth.
But we hope to continue to tweak them and make them better. We took Maddie and that's our Imperial Stout. We did put those in barrels, so hopefully in about 5 more months, sensory dependent, we'll be able to take those out. They're aging in 12-year Weller barrels, so we'll have a whiskey barrel aged stout, probably for the fall.
Yeah, and kind of basic beer question, like so stouts and porters, as they warm up in room temperature, it's different flavor character, right?
Yes, very much so. Most serving comes out at about 35 to 40 degrees. It helps the carbonation of the beer, and it just helps make it pour better.
Yeah.
So a lot of systems are set for that. But flavor profiles, that beer is going to drink much better around 50 degrees, 55 degrees. And it's going to taste completely different. It's going to be fuller. It's going to have more mouthfeel. It's going to have different flavors that are going to come out that you're going to be able to taste.
Yeah.
You got another question?
Yeah, another question from our online audience.
From Eric.
Hi, Eric.
That perhaps it is similar to a Berliner Weiss.
What?
It says Rob knows what I mean.
What is similar to a...
What's similar to Berliner Weiss? Because none of these beers are anything close to Berliner
not
Weiss.
a porter or stout. No, right? No.
Berliner Weiss is a very low
kind of
alcohol.
The other new craze.
Yeah.
Like, there's like the New England IPAs.
Love Berliner.
Yeah.
That's a
We
great
love
style.
Berliner.
Yeah.
We don't have one, but we love it.
You guys plan on brewing one?
We do want to have a sour program. So it's
But
tough.
Berliner's not really a true sour, I guess.
Yeah,
It's
it's
more like
lactobacillus.
Kettles,
Like,
Well, it depends. It depends if you do the kettle sour route, or if you go,
Sure.
a true Berliner
fruit beer,
Weiss is
right?
a barrel aged.
Yeah.
It's, that it's going to age. The problem with that is keeping your sour beers and your clean beers in the same place. We eventually want to have a sour program that we can have it off site and be able to have those beers and not worry about infecting our clean beers.
Yeah, because it's a lot of
with practice.
bacteria stuff,
with good practices, you can get away with it, and having separate equipment. We're just not at that point where we can do that yet.
So you have to have a
We're
whole
barely
another
keeping it
room,
clean,
right?
Kettle sours are a little bit easier because that takes away that having to worry about keeping things bacteria and clean, because you're going to kill off all the bacteria after it has soured the beer. So we want to play around with that. We're going to look into that and start playing around with doing that. We're probably going to start with a Goza. We've gotten some blackberries in for it.
Nice.
And we're probably going to play around with that in the next few weeks. So hopefully in the next month or two, we've got something that we can turn around and turn out. But
All right. I'm gonna jump to. I haven't come up with a name for this, but instead of the regular question of what's your favorite beer, for a brewer or a craft beer fan like me and probably Rob, that's a really hard question to answer. So instead, I came up with 5 scenarios. In these scenarios, they'll start out easy and they'll get weirder and weirder as they go into the 5th
We like
one.
weird.
Yeah, but
weird's good.
I'll give you
Weird's
a
good.
scenario, and you tell me what kind of beer. We'll just kind of go around, and maybe I'll give one too. But you can say a specific beer, a beer that you brew, or just a style of beer that you drink during this occasion or situation. So the first one is at a backyard barbecue.
Backyard barbecue all day is going to be a IPA. I'm a Fatheads Headhunter, White Raja, and Columbus Bodie guy. If you were to give me any of those at a backyard barbecue, I would not quaff at it for a second. Those are the beers that got me loving IPAs.
Sure. Yeah.
And they'll always have a place in my heart, special place in my heart for those beers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go a different route. I love IPAs too, but for a backyard barbecue, my go-to beer in the summer has kind of become Goza, and I'm particularly fond of Urban Artifact.
Oh,
Their Key
kill it.
Punch.
Yes.
Their Key Punch.
They kill it.
The
Amazing.
Key
Yes.
Lime Goza
Those
Yes.
guys kill
is
it.
out of this world.
Yes, I just tried it.
Yeah. Also,
So
their kumquat-based beer, I think it's Pinwheel. That's excellent as well.
And-
So anything like that that's kind of fruity.
I have a postcard in my fridge right now. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah,
Those-
just really crisp.
Those
light
guys are
body.
amazing dudes too.
And they really are.
We got the opportunity to meet them last
They're
year
great guys.
during the Ohio Craft Brewers
Yes.
Nice.
conference, and stand-up dudes. You guys want to talk about people that are passionate about beer. They are so passionate about their community and their beer. And we saw a lot of resemblance, and I think that's why we got along so well. Resemblance in what we wanted and what they're doing. So their
Yeah.
beer's phenomenal.
Those are
Yeah,
greay
yeah.
guys. They're doing
Absolutely
great beer.
phenomenal.
Yes.
We have another online question.
Derek says, you guys have any plans to have waivers for the patio area so more lines can get one?
Yeah, so we're working on that. We got new signage up that tells people where they can now go. We were waiting a long time to try to get that signage in, and we have that up now. We talked about going the waiter route. It just wasn't going to work out. For what we're doing as a brewery, because we're not a restaurant, we're a brewery first.
Right.
That has food, and hopefully everybody sees that the food is good. At least I hope that. We're a brewery first, so we want to make sure that
Sure.
we keep that. We didn't want to start getting into that realm of being a restaurant, and when I start talking about servers, we are doing things to improve that. We'll definitely have the outside bar on the weekends. That takes a lot of pressure off that bar. And we're going to be able to start, now that we have ordering lines and basically a place for people to go, it's going to take some of that tension off of hopefully being able to get through people quicker. When we got 150 people here and people want beer, though, there's going to be lines.
Yeah, I mean,
It's all
our
we can
tap
do.
room's not that big. Our
It's-
space
yeah.
isn't that big. It just, like, sometimes it just is what it is.
So we appreciate people being patient, especially when the first few weeks we got
Yeah.
slammed and we did pretty well, but
35 barrels in 2 weeks. That's
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
pretty well.
Yeah, we moved a lot of product through here. And it was,
and
like,
and I'm exceptionally proud of the fact that we're able
So am I.
to keep the food going out. Our ticket times for food are anywhere between at most. The most I've ever seen our ticket times is about 15 minutes on an average.
Nice.
They're coming out around 5 to 10 minutes. So
Yeah. Phenomenal.
we feel like we've created somewhat of an efficient system. There are times where we just get a rush of people, and we try to get through it as quick as possible. We're now getting to the point where we're staffing more people. That's
Right.
going to make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we
Yeah.
got more bartenders, especially on the weekends. Tomorrow we're going to be staffed with 5 bartenders.
Nice. Nice. That's
That's
huge.
going to make a big difference.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What's your backyard
Yeah,
barbecue?
backyard barbecue beer.
my, like, hands down, my backyard barbecue beer is Tired Hands Hop Hands. Like,
I follow them on Instagram, but I've never had their beers.
Tired Hands is one of my favorite breweries outside of Vermont. That's where I'm from, so I'm partial to them. But Hop Hands is a crushable pale ale. It's hazy, it's soft, it's like 5-8%, and you can drink
Yeah.
them until you fall over. And backyard barbecue style, like, it's awesome because it's just refreshing, it's soft, it's crisp, and it's my favorite beer
I think
for
that's
backyard barbecue.
key. Yeah, like a beer that's not too
Yeah.
crazy intense, but like you can
Yeah.
drink a couple of them and it's not like overwhelming. It's probably going to be hot out, something light. But if like the craft beer drinker wants something like whatever your thing is, whether it's hoppy or like flavorful too. I mean, I'll probably go with something like Sunshine Daydream by Fat Heads or
It's
something
a
like
great
that.
beer.
Yeah.
Anything Fat Heads
awesome beer.
does, man.
Yeah. So the next one, while reading a good book or watching a movie, so kind of just like chill environment, kind of me time beer.
Yeah, we don't have me time right now.
What's me time?
So I usually crush like a triple IPA before I fall asleep. Does that count?
If I watch a movie right now, I'm going to be
Yeah,
asleep
yeah,
in about 10 minutes.
No,
Yeah,
I-
no.
high gravity beer. I can
Yeah,
sip
good
on.
barrel aged,
barley wine or stout, or yeah,
for
or
sure.
barrel aged like dark Belgian dark, something like that. That I can just sip one beer and enjoy it throughout the whole process.
Yeah.
That's pretty much me.
A good sipping beer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Probably
Yeah.
a double or triple IPA for me.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. I'd probably say like a really good like bourbon barrel stout or something like KBS or something.
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
like like I want to like take my time or like see this,
Yep.
you know.
Especially in the Ohio winters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If it's
yeah,
winter time, it's definitely a barrel-aged stout or barley wine.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
Something
yeah.
that's got that heat.
Okay, so trying to flip it a little bit, Weeder style. During the zombie apocalypse, what is a beer, a zombie apocalypse beer, and don't say zombie dust?
Oh, you just took everybody's
Just
beer
took
away.
everybody's answer. That was fine.
I know.
Okay, next question.
I would say Apocalypse Cow.
The craziest.
Oh,
there you go.
Oh, that's
good.
There you
That's
go.
one of my favorite
Lactose.
beers.
That was one of the first lactose double IPAs I ever drank.
Yes.
From Three Floyds.
Yes.
And it changed the whole game of what
I
double
had
IPAs
it
are.
on draft at
Yeah.
Greenhouse.
Yeah.
What is it?
Greenhouse Tavern.
Yeah.
That beer was one of the ultimates.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I loved it. It was one of the first like that stout. It was early on in my like, craft beer drinking experience. Anything crazy like a crazy
Yeah.
style beer. I don't know. I just want to throw that one there. So okay, here's another one that might throw you for a loop, but the other guy that we were talking to earlier might have a better answer. But if the Browns ever made it to the Super Bowl, what beer would you want to be drinking?
God, it'd have to be anything. Geez, that's a good question.
Or if anybody can think of
Any
one.
beer that
yeah.
someone handed you?
Yeah, really.
It's gotta be Cleveland beer, right? That's gotta be like a I don't know.
A unicorn
Yeah.
beer. I'm gonna go big. I'm gonna go anything Cantillon. I love Belgians. I love sours. Any chance you get to have something from Cantillon, their stuff is just
Where are they
incredible.
at?
It's a Belgian brewery.
Okay.
They're well known for their sour gozes or goose, and they're just phenomenal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, mine's going to tick a lot of people off because the page that I have focuses on promoting the hyper local, and so I'm really at my core very much a Cleveland and Akron guy. But when it comes to football, I'm a Packers fan.
Yeah, so you're going to drink a Serendipity or something?
Wow.
In fairness to me, the Browns have done a lot of things over the last couple of years that have probably pissed off more people than me and made them not be Browns fans. So if the Browns did ever make it to the Super Bowl, I'd be happy for them. Still a homer. And it would have to be something big, to your point, something pretty special.
Yeah. I want to say like Great Lakes made a beer. I don't know if they still make it called Cleveland Brown Ale, which is like a brilliant name for a Cleveland brewery.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But it'd have to be like something like the greatest beer, like the most like you never thought that beer could be possible to brew. You know, like a really weird style beer. So I don't know, but I'll stick with that Cleveland Brown Ale.
For me, it's
but
simple. It's Hop Juju.
nice.
It's Hop Juju from Fatheads.
Yeah.
One of the best double IPAs that's been brewed. And
No doubt.
like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
that beer is,
For sure.
I mean, that's a staple in my fridge all the time
As it
when it's
should be.
available.
Yeah.
It's a great beer.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. Last beer. And this might throw you for another loop. But so if you could drink a beer with any historical character, fiction or nonfiction, who would it be, and what kind of beer would it be?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, wow.
Somebody else can start on this.
Yeah, that one's all you did.
I'll take it.
Okay.
I drink a beer with Matt Foley, the motivational speaker, because he'd be living in a van down by the river drinking Hetty Topper. And I would too.
Nice.
I don't think I have anything that could top that.
Yeah.
No.
Man, I'm gonna have to. I would love, and I hinted to this with your logo, but drink a beer with Frodo Baggins. Drink like a I don't know, like a Trappist ale or something, like like the monks made or something with Frodo Baggins in like that type of setting.
Yeah.
Pretty weird, but
You got
Or
nothing.
Abe
I
Lincoln.
still don't think I can top.
or like a dark stout with Abe Lincoln.
I can't top Matt Foley, can you?
Matt
Can't top
Foley
Matt
with Hetty Topper.
Or like drink a beer with Jesus or something. Something. I don't know.
Is that Bill Shakespeare over there?
I can't see so good.
Well, thank you guys. So
Thank
much
you. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
coming on.
thank you for coming out, man.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Missing Mountain Brewery, the Hop and the Bean. I have a whole closing that I was going to try to hit on and try to encapsulate. I'll just try to touch on a little bit of that. But So anytime you visit your local brewery or your coffee shop, you quickly realize that there's a few things that bring people together like a good drink. Whether it's coffee or beer, because that's the other part of the hop and the bean is the bean being the coffee bean. They all draw a crowd. And so after a closer examination, you'll see that there's specific communities that congregate over very intentional reasons, right? Whether it's like a special release or a special release or a craft brew or like an exclusive only in the brew pub, you see that there's people that are coming exactly out for a very specific reason. And the result is a specialty coffee and a craft beer revolution. Brew pubs, coffee houses, bean roasters, and brewers have not only a clientele following, but a community that stretches well beyond the limitations of distribution. Coffee drinkers are able to indulge in multiple facets thanks to the relentless limitations in the pursuit of coffee. Sorry, I lost my spot, but it's the coffee, the bean, the single origin, the coffee roasting experience, or the coffee origins. And the same with coffee brewers, right? It's like from the hop to the glass, they want to create a total unique beer drinking experience. And so that's what we're in. It's the craft beer and specialty coffee revolution. So this is not just a show about coffee and beer, but it's an actual line into the tap of the people that embrace this community and this movement that is the hop and the bean. So until next episode, we have Akron Coffee Roasters. Was last episode. Next episode, we have Nervous Dog. Be sure to check us out. We'll be on location, and we're going to go to different breweries, different coffee shops. I'm Buzz Andrews, and I'm all hopped up. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks,
guys.